Hello, a gentleman, lady. How's everybody doing this evening?
We doing fine, champ. You ready for next week?
Ready? Yeah. I'm ready.
And what's going on? Today is Saturday. I always forget what day of the week it is. It's bad that I do that. But anyways, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast show. Listen, I want to let you guys know that are listening to me. I am actually working on an intro. I got my guy Big Cam. I am TikTok. He's up in Kansas City. He's going to do one for me. So once that is available, I will be introducing that. So stay tuned for the intro. The intro is coming. All right. So hey, another episode. This is episode 12 of the Knucklehead Chronicles after the rebrand. I'm taking a little bit of break from the origin real quick, and we'll get back into it because the origin, where we are in the stories that we're starting to come up on current times, and even in those current times, there's some stories in there, but we'll get to that in future episodes of the Knucklehead Chronicles. So I want to welcome everybody who's here that's listening to me right now. I appreciate you. You can follow this podcast on all podcasting platforms, Spotify, Alexa, whatever you got, Apple Podcasts, you can definitely follow. I want to get into a few things, man, because it's been a really, really rough, month. It's really been rough. Today, though, we're going to talk about some topics, top topics in the news. Before we get out of that, I want to say, dude, where is my car, man? We're gonna get into that because listen, what happened? Let me tell you what happened. Okay, so this past week, my wife and I. So I take my daughter to school every morning, right? I take my son to his ABA therapy, and then I to ABA school, and then I take my daughter to school. So Monday morning, I come out to my driveway to do our normal routine, right? And I go out there, and my car is gone. These jokers came into my driveway, jumped in my car, and took my car, my beautiful 2015 Hyundai Sonata. I loved my car. It was limited, had the heat and the cool seat. They had everything, right? These jokers came on there and took my whole car right out of my driveway. Now I'm thinking to myself, going, if I ever catch any, you know what? This is what I wanted to say when I came outside to see that my car was gone.
Oh, don't be like that. If I had a rock, I'll bust your head, bitch. Say me, she deaf, you know?
Listen to me. When I walked out and I seen my car was gone, that's exactly what I was thinking. Bernie Mac, Transformers, you know what I'm saying? I bust your head to the white meat. That's kind of, but these kids, and so we reported it stolen, got a hold of the cops. The cops told us that they were on the lookout for it. They went hard for it for about 3 days. They found some dudes. Apparently, the theft of my car was, I think, the fourth in the neighborhood. So it was definitely a spree going on. And according to the cops said that it was part of a gun ring. There's some young kids running around. They did recover my plates for my car. So lets me know that these are different brand of criminal, right? They're swapping plates. So eventually, the detective called my wife the other day and said, it's pretty much the leads have dried up. They have one person and they have somebody in custody. But of course, us black folk, we have the no snitching policy, so nobody's talking. They got the street the dude lives on or whatever, but nothing. So they pretty much told her, hey, just chalk it up to the insurance. Maybe we'll recover it. Maybe we won't. And I was like, it was kind of disheartening. Like, what's going on with these kids today to where they can't, they got to steal everybody else's stuff. Like, if you can't get a job and get your own, like, what are we doing this for? But, I try to keep a bright outlook on everything. It's hard though, because you work hard for something. That the Sonata is was a big deal. It was an emotional tie, because that was the first car. That Sonata was the first car that my wife and I bought together, and so that's big. You know, the both of us, we downplay it. You know what I'm saying? We downplayed it, but legitly, that was the first thing that we ever bought together as a family. Other than having a baby together, that was the first financial obligation that we had together. So it was hard, man. The dude just took my car, just took it. So if you are listening to this, and if you guys see a white Hyundai Sonata 2015, no matter where you are in this country, with the crack in the bumper, shout at me. But hey, one of the distinct factors of that vehicle is it has a panoramic sunroof. So if you look at if you see a car like that and it doesn't have a sunroof, don't call me. But if it do, call me. That'd be great. All right. So let's get into some of these stories, man. Man, America is going absolutely nuts. So let's get into it real quick. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is this Leah Thompson person. Whoever is Leah Thompson. So apparently Leah Thompson, or Thomas, was a guy who was a swimmer, and he sucked as a male swimmer. So I think he was ranked 462nd or something, another like that. He decided to take advantage of the society as it was, and he decided to become a woman, or to become a woman. So now his name is Leah Thomas, and so he goes from 462nd as a male swimmer to the number one swimmer. And you know, however the rules are, of course, this person is of Caucasian descent, so we're not going to sit here and act like that's not a big thing, but then that's fine. And as a society, we are supposed to accept that, right? But what I don't accept is the young lady out of South Africa. I think let me pull up the story. Out of South Africa, and she was trying to compete as a swimmer as well, and they denied her because she looked too manly. Can you believe that? Can you believe the hypocrisy even in that statement? Like, you're telling me this dude can identify as a woman and go from a 462nd ranked swimmer to number one because he identified as a woman. But this young lady decided she wanted to be a swimmer, and they denied her. Like, I don't understand the logic. Where do they even come from? You know, why would they even do that? You know? Let me see if I can pull this story up real quick, because I'm very interested in getting some names. I know the guy's name is Leah. I'm sorry, y'all. I should have had this pulled up. I did have some stories pulled up, but for some reason I can't spell this morning. Okay, here it is. All right, so yeah, Leah, and I'm telling you, this dude that looks like the Leah Thomas. This guy, if you guys haven't Googled this dude, he looks atrocious. He really does. He looks atrocious. He's sucked as a male swimmer. He and transgendered and switched over to a woman, and he's even an uglier woman. And Caitlyn Jenner, I'm reading the headlines here, and Caitlyn Jenner said on USA Today yesterday that Caitlyn Jenner says that trans swimmer Leah Thomas is not the rightful winner of the NCAA championship, and I got to agree with Caitlyn Jenner on this one. I mean, she's not, because you switch genders doesn't mean, you know, that it doesn't mean that you just can do that. I just don't feel like you can do that. Maybe you can. And the way the society is set up, you can kind of do whatever you want and not get canceled for it as long as you're careful when you do it, right? But I think that's crazy. I really do. I was talking to a customer of mine the other day. You guys know I sell cars for a living, so I had a customer, very dope customer, Mr. Alcock, great guy. And we was talking, and he said to me, he's like, I remember when I was coming up, we didn't have this. We didn't have and I'm sure it existed. Some kids were confused somewhere. I don't know, maybe, right? But I know that we didn't have much talk of transgender and gender identity, and I'm confused. I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl or whatever. I mean, we are men of certain ages. Mr. Alcock was a little bit older than me, and I'm 46. So coming up, my generation is a little bit different, right? Generation is way different. We didn't have it. I mean, if you were a boy and you like playing with dollhouses, maybe this is misogynistic or whatever social term that society has now. But if you was a boy, you played with a dollhouse, you were considered, homosexual, gay. It wasn't. I don't think, and that may even be wrong, right? But that's the way we grew up. That was our generation. I mean, so it was. Excuse me. So it wasn't like it was, he was transgender and we had the conversation and he was getting banned from school. None of that. Society today, man, has turned this thing totally on its head, and I think it's way much, right? But this Leah Thomas, I just don't agree. And they gave her, I mean, ew. Just ew. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think it's just, I don't care. I don't know. And apparently, wait a minute. Caitlyn Jenner opposes Leah Thomas' victory. It is not transphobic. It's common sense. So Caitlyn Jenner took some heat. I think Caitlyn Jenner, she's in the news because she is trying to run for governor of California. I think that's I heard. I could be wrong. Any statements that I make on this podcast, and if it's wrong, please correct me. Just send me an email over to knuckleheadchroniclespodcast@gmail.com, and then let me know that I was wrong with whatever I state here. But there's a story that came out 3 days ago from CNN. Death sentence down there in Florida. It's stirring up controversy. He always got something to say about something. If it ain't mocking kids that wear masks, it's something that Ron DeSantis is on. Let's see what he's talking about. He's always waiting in controversy. And he said the Republican governor embroiled in a fight with Disney over the state's so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill. That's a big thing now. The "Don't Say Gay" bill that claimed NCAA is perpetuating a fraud and declared the University of Virginia freshman and Florida native Emma Wynn the rightful winner of the race. That was the girl that placed second to Leah Thomas in the NCAA championships. That's right. Weyant Weyant had finished about 1.7 seconds behind Thomas, who had come to personify the ongoing discourse on trans women participating in sports and the balance between inclusion and fair play. And I don't agree with DeSantis or any of those Republicans a lot, but that's the truth. I'm from a believer that Weyant is the rightful winner, because this Thomas chick, dude, whatever, came out of nowhere. I just don't, and I don't want to sound homophobic because I'm not, right, or transphobic in this case. I'm not. I just don't. I just feel like that can't, But now that we're talking about the "Don't Say Gay" bill, I wonder if I want to find a story about the African lady, but I can't find it right now. But I want to get into this "Don't Say Gay" bill. Where did this come from? Like, who? I don't say gay. I want to know who thought about that. I want to know who brought that up, because they need to be shot. Just say like, "Don't say gay." All right, so let me pull this up and see what this says, because I don't really perpetuate I don't do a lot of research, right? And I should, because I do a podcast. My podcast is a storytelling podcast, so it's just me, right? So when I start getting to these top stories, I am really trying to, get better into this. I wish I had research skills like my buddy W Mother over there on TikTok. She's great. All right, so according to the story on CNN, this story was updated back on March the 8th, so we're a couple days behind on that. But Gen Z won't stay quiet on Florida's don't say gay bill. Now I'm curious. I'm reading this. I'm reading this right now as I'm saying it to you guys. I'm reading it. Florida's so-called don't say gay bill overcame its first legislative hurdle on Tuesday. I need to find out what that is because that's going to bug me. Let me do a Google search real quick because how in the world don't say gay? Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This story is presented by Al Jazeera news source. All right, I almost got it. Now, this is, of course, the Don't Say Gay bill is, of course, it originated in Florida. I just mentioned it, the governor, Dev Santis, down there. And I'm going to keep saying it, say Dev Santis, because that's exactly who he is. This is something that the Disney company, employees of the Walt Disney Company have called the business to do more about legislation in the U.S. southern state, Florida, that will limit classroom discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity, dubbed by opponents the Don't Say Gay bill. They're demanding that Disney show its support for this LGBTQ plus employees by stopping construction and investment in the state of Florida until hateful legislation is repealed. All right, so according to Al Jazeera, the Don't Say Gay bill limits classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity. Okay, first of all, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm a man of a certain age. I'm a different breed, right? You know, I came from, I was born in 75, so we lived through some stuff, right? We never what? The only thing that we had in school when I was coming up, we had sex ed, right, which did not last. I think it was like maybe two sessions, and it was just about the female organs and the male organs. It didn't go deep into, the different aspects of sex. It was just, just the organs. Talking about the organs. When did they start this mess? I mean, a classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity. What classroom? What classroom is that? I don't I don't know what that is. So it says instruction may not occur in kindergarten through third grade or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. It does not specify when such instruction should be considered age appropriate. It also prohibits classroom discussion with sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels or in a specified manner. Okay. Why are we talking about sex in school anyways? Why are we doing that? We got bigger fish to fry than other words about. See, that's the problem. See, this is my personal problem, and the views expressed on the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast are those of mine, and mine alone. There's nothing etched in stone here. There's nothing. I'm not the law. None of that. These are just my opinions, right? Why in the world are we talking about sexual orientation and gender identity in school anyway? Kindergartners through third grade, especially kindergartners need to learn their shapes and their colors, right? Learn how to social interact. Unless you're a special needs child, and there's other things you have to learn. Just like my baby boy, there's other things he has to learn first before he can get to his shapes and colors, right? There is no way in the world that I would want my son to go to school in kindergarten or first grade, and they're talking about gender, sexuality, and sexual orientation. Who cares? They should not care at K through 3. Why are we even having this discussion? Society has gotten so dang on. I don't know what I can't figure out the word to describe it, but it's silly, right? K through 3, you talking about sexual orientation and gender identity? If you got a penis, you're a boy. If you got a vagina, you're a girl. Period. Point blank. End of story. Why are we having this discussion? Again, not to be homophobic or transphobic in this podcast. It's just this is what I was brought up on. You can't say I don't understand how a parent of a child that has a penis would tell this child, well, how do you feel? You feel like a girl? Do you feel like you like boys? Da 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 da. You know, where did that come from? This transgender stuff, I just don't agree with it. This is me, right? And I feel like if you're a man, if you like men, then you're homosexual, right? If you're a girl who likes girls, you're homosexual. You're lesbian. I mean, this is what it is, right? Doesn't make you wrong, but it doesn't make you. I mean, it doesn't make you wrong. However, you do get you get that choice. But to say you're a man who likes women but identify as a woman, no. I don't get it. And that's just me. I struggle. All right. And so if anybody listen to the podcast, anybody want to inbox me and want to be a guest on, let me know. Holler at me. So the bill, continuing on about the Dose Gay bill, the bill allows parents to sue a school district at the school district's expense if they believe the measure is not being enforced. The bill also prohibits school support service personnel from withholding information regarding a student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being. That means the school counselors would have to inform parents if a student told them they were gay or trans, even if such disclosure could be harmful to the student. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? If your kid goes to a counselor and comes out to the counselor by law has to call you and say, your kid just came out to me. Oh man, I can see why this thing is all. The whole thing is in an uproar. It's crazy. Like, so, and I know there's a lot of people that's going to listen to this probably and be like, don't teach my kid sexuality and orientation. And I tend to side with them. I don't want my kid knowing that. The society is full of that. The society has enough of that as it is. YouTube and Netflix. I mean, if anybody who's ever watched the Ozarks on Netflix, come on now. And if you're watching it with your kids, you're wrong. That should be child abuse. No, I'm kidding. It shouldn't be. But you shouldn't be watching it with your kids, not that show. And so this bill, this don't say gay. If you live in Florida, I'm praying for y'all down there because this is crazy. If my son or daughter goes to my daughter right now, is struggling. She's been through a lot of trauma, and so she's struggling with her identity. If she goes to her counselor and says, Miss So and So, I feel the tug to be, I like women or I like girls. That counselor has to call my wife or me and say, your daughter just came out to me. That's dangerous to some parents because some parents are you better not walk in here and say you gay. You know what I'm saying? So can you imagine the struggle, the trauma for the child? Can you believe that? Florida is off their rocker. I mean, they do a lot of stupid stuff down there in Florida. Anyway, but Jesus Christ, man. This is crazy. So supporters of the bill, Republican State Senator Dennis Baxley, the bill sponsor, this is the idiot that wrote this bill, the Don't Say Gay bill, has framed the legislation as reinforcing parents' right to control the upbringing of their children. So because the counselor has to call them, the parents don't have any control. So the people who support that, they just feel like they want to, all this, they want to control the right of the upbringing of their children. That's stupid. In previous hearings, he has suggested that an emphasis on gender identity encourages to try on different kinds of things. He said he has rejected the Don't Say Gay nickname, saying the bill does not actually use the word gay. People who oppose this bill have said that beyond creating a dangerous environment that makes discussion of sexual orientation taboo, the bill is overly vague, and it sounds like it is overly vague. It does not define sexual orientation or gender identity, leaving what is prohibited open to interpretation. A joint statement by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the LGBTQ awareness organization warned the law could harm a community that already reports high rates of seriously considering suicide. Now, I can believe that because, it's hard enough, and especially in this society, it's hard enough for a child to come out or an adult to come out without ridicule or judgment. And then they do that, and then they get bullied, or something like that. That's crazy. Researchers largely agree that that's part of the reason for the elevated rates of suicidal thoughts, plans, and attempts, and poor medical condition outcomes found among LGBTQ people is the social stigma, prejudice, and discrimination that contributes to the minority stress of being LGBTQ, the group say. That's absolutely correct. I really believe that. I believe that, being part of the LGBTQ is a prideful thing. People love, if you are a lesbian, yes. If you're bisexual, yes. And people love that. But society as a whole, though, is putting the chokehold on this group, this marginalized group of people, because they don't consider them as normal. Huh? Who said that? Who said they're not normal? Right? But this don't say gay, but it just doesn't sit well in my spirit. You know what I'm saying? President Joe Biden said in the tweet, I want every member of the LGBTQI plus community, especially the kids who will be impacted by this hateful bill, to know that you are loved and accepted just as you are. I have your back, and the administration will continue to fight for the protections and safety you deserve. This was February 8th, 22. I just don't get it. The White House tweeted, and I guess President Biden kind of co-signed what the White House said. Today, conservative politicians in Florida advanced legislation designed to attack LGBTQI kids, instead of making growing up harder for young people. POTUS is focused on keeping schools open and supporting student mental health. I think this is absolutely an attack on these young on these babies who are LGBTQ. All right. We're not getting on Texas, not in this podcast, but Florida, it says these dudes are running on whatever crack they're smoking, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. LGBTQI is a thing, right? We all know somebody who is gay, lesbian, bi. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't really agree with transgender, but that's just me. But I still support the LGBTQ community. But I think that with this transgender thing, the thing with Leah Thomas, and this is the reason why I struggle with the transgender thing is what was going on with Leah Thomas. That was totally wrong, and they gave her this championship, and they should. I'm telling you, the NCAA should void that championship and give it to the girl that played second. Just don't say gay bill is crazy, and I just don't understand. Okay, I just don't get it. And if anybody who's listening to this, if you can shed some light on that, please inbox me, Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast at gmail.com, and let's get into some discussion about that, because I struggle. I do struggle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the cheesiest. I'm not the cheesiest of people. I don't do a lot of research, but it's the stuff that I do read is like, what the, that's kind of what it is. All right. All right. Right before I leave here, let me get into something. There was a young man from Missouri who went on a field trip or went on a vacation, and he was riding a roller coaster or a Ferris wheel, and this again down in dang on Florida, man, I swear. Missouri boy, 14, dies after he falls from a ride at Icon Park in Orlando. Okay. And it was one of those, it's like if you're in the Carowinds or any one of the, it's like Drop Zone. right? So you get into the seat, take you all the way up. You get to the top of it, and then you hit that click, and then you fall. Apparently, this seat broke. Yeah, he did. Okay, so it looks like there was no seat belts. I'm like, how would you get on that? How would you get on that kind of a ride, no seat belt? All right, so let's read a little bit of the story, okay? And this was posted March 25th, NBCnews.com. A 14-year-old boy visiting from Missouri died Thursday night after a fall from riding at Icon Park in Orlando. Authorities said Friday. This deputies responded to an Orlando free fall attraction at Icon Park just after 11 p.m. This is 11 p.m. You shouldn't even be on the ride that late line anyways. On a Thursday after receiving a 911 call, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Witnesses on the scene reported that someone had fallen from the ride. The team was taken to Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children, where he died from his injuries. So it goes on to say, the sheriff says it appears to be a terrible tragedy. Our prayers and thoughts are with the family. We can't imagine what they're going through. Let's get to what happened. This boy, oh my goodness, he's a big kid too. So Carl Sampson, Tyree's uncle, said the team was in Florida with teammates from his football team. Tyree stood at 14 years old. Get this now, 6'6" at 14 years old and weighed 280 pounds as an 8th grader. That dude's an NFL player. He was an NFL player. That's crazy. Let's see. So a freestanding drop tower. Okay, it's meant to stand at 430 feet and can carry up to 30 riders. Maybe it could have been he was too. Because it's not telling me what happened on the ride and why it malfunctioned. But I think from what I read earlier on a different website that it was something about a seatbelt. I'm trying to read through it right now. But that's tragedy. That's tragedy. 14 years old. He's a big boy though. 6'6", 280 pounds. He's a big one. All right. Last thing we're getting into it. Oh man, I hope you guys are watching the confirmation hearing for Miss Jackson. She is getting absolutely blazed in this confirmation hearing. They did not want to confirm this black woman for the Supreme Court justice. But I can't understand why. But it's that damn raggedy ass Mitch McConnell who was trying to keep this woman from being confirmed. You know, of course, you guys know that when President Obama was in office, he stopped the confirmation hearing for another justice for a year and a half because he did not want another justice. He wanted to keep the justices at 8 instead of being 9, right? But Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's getting absolutely drugged in these confirmations. But I'm gonna tell you something about this queen. This queen is absolutely handling her business, and she letting them senators know that I'm not for play like my man Trey Moe and Keisha Jones. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for play. You know what I mean? I love Trey Moe, but Ketanji Brown Jackson is really getting the business. And Cory Booker was on the stand a couple. I don't understand, but he was questioning her. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and he made just this brilliant play, brilliant speech, and it was great to hear him do that. I'm gonna see if I can find that because it was just awesome to hear him say it. Let's see. Hold on. Well, maybe I can't because I didn't set up my stuff like that. But well, maybe I can. Let's see. It's crazy how yeah. I don't want to play the whole thing, but this is something Cory Booker had said to.
This is the world's first reusable cotton swab.
Let's see if this works. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if it will.
Latest studies show that traditional.
Get out of here.
You have earned this spot. You are worthy. You are a great American. Your hero is Constance Baker Motley. Mine, she has sat on my desk for my offices that I've held. She's my icon of America. Her name is Harriet Tubman. There is a love in this country that is extraordinary. You admitted it about your parents. They loved this nation, even though there were laws preventing them from getting together. When they were loving, there were laws in this country that would have prevented you from marrying your husband. It wasn't that long ago, it was last generation. But they didn't stop loving this country, even though this country didn't love them back. And what were the words of your heroes and mine? What did Constance Baker Motley do? Did she, this country that she saw insults and injuries, when she came out of law school, law firms wouldn't even hire her because she was a woman. Did she become bitter? Did she try to create a revolution? No, she used the very constitution of this nation. She loved it so much, she wanted America to be America. As Langston Hughes wrote, "Oh, let America be America again." The land that never has been yet, but yet must be the land where everyone is free. Oh, yes, I say it plain, America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be.
Well, I'll tell you, long story short, man, by the time this guy got through, there was not a dry eye in the place. That's what I was seeing with this. And it made me absolutely proud to be a black man in America when he got the chance to tell this woman, this queen who was fighting, that she is in the right place, she's worthy. And I want all black women to understand and know that listening to this particular podcast right now, in this episode, is that you are worthy. And no matter what, we all know that black women are the most marginalized people in this country, like the most unprotected people people in this country, in this world. They are the most unprotected, they're the most disrespected all the time. But it's amazing how that is been when a lot of people, they do a lot of the black women's mannerisms and move a certain way. Black women's hairstyles and the way they look and the full lips and all that jazz. But they're the most disrespected. I never understood that. But anyway, Kenjeti, Nettie Jackson, listen, you will never set ears to this podcast. But let me tell you something. I am proud, and I hope they go ahead and stop playing around and go ahead and confirm you, because they suck. These senators suck. She has more experience, more knowledge than the people. And that's funny how that works, is that she is this justice that's sitting up here. She's been the federal judge. She's been this. She's been that. She's on the executive boards and went to college here and went to college there. And you got people you got these young men, or these old men, who are questioning this woman who has less than 10% of the experience and knowledge this woman has. They got the nerve to try to drill her. It's crazy. This whole thing is crazy to me. But listen, I'm gonna get out of here. I want everybody to know that I love you here at the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. Everybody that is entwined with me, anybody that supports me on a regular basis, I appreciate you. Thank you so much again. You can check this podcast out on all podcast platforms. If you have Alexa, or if you have Google Play or whatever, or Spotify, go and check us out, man. Go ahead and make sure you download the podcast that way you want. That way you will not miss an episode. Shout out to the National Podcast Association for sponsoring my podcast. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm out of here. Y'all be blessed, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.